Hello everyone, it's Marie here. Welcome back to my channel. I'm back today with a scrapbook process video for my creative scrapbook. This is their March main kit. I've actually made 5 layouts with their March main kit this month. Got process videos for 3 of them. We're sharing them on my socials over the next month or so. So this is the first layout I've created with the kit. It's full of the Pink Fresh Studio Spring Vibes collection, which is lots and lots of pretty colours, like pale. It's lots of lovely pale pinks and then some darker greens. It's a really interesting mix of colours. Now what I've decided to do for this one is to do a big heart aperture. Now I could have done this on my Cricut, but I decided actually I wanted to do it by hand. I wanted just a slightly less, I just wanted it to look hand drawn rather than machine drawn. So I've drawn around the heart. I've just sketched out a heart in pencil, gone around it with my craft knife and then cut it out, and then distressed the edges of the heart as well. And then I've just cut a piece of one of the pieces of cards, like this beautiful pink sort of stripy watercolour type paper to put behind. You saw me then just add some foam strips around the outside of the heart. I didn't want it to sit flat, I wanted a little bit of height so you get that kind of shadow effect. And then I'm using this photograph here. This is me and my son. It's just a restaurant. We went out for a birthday meal, not for his or mine, but just for a family member's birthday meal, and it was just such a lovely photograph, and it kind of fit this title of Everyday Moments. And what I loved about this was the photograph's really quite dark, and the papers and things that I've chosen to use are quite light in colour. I just like that contrast, and I think it makes the photograph really pop off the page. I have pre-backed that cut file there from Pear Tree Cut Files, Everyday Moments, and I've pre-backed it in vellum. I love to back a cut file in vellum. I think it's a really nice soft way of doing things. You don't have to worry about matching colours. I mean, I do love to do them in coloured paper as well, but for this one I just chose, I'm going to do vellum. I just love the softness of it. So right now, just playing around with some of the ephemera and playing around with some fussy cut pieces. Now, one of the pieces of paper was pink, the whole pink background with flowers drawn on in white. Now, most of those you can see there, they're all fussy cut from that sheet. And I thought it just went beautifully. I love to fussy cut. I find it really therapeutic. So really enjoyed just cutting around a load of those. But I've also pulled out some of the ephemera pieces from the pack in the kit. So they've got the green leaves on. And I liked the sort of the difference between some of them having the green on and some of them being completely pink. I thought it gave a really nice contrast. And just a bit of difference there. Now I've decided to pop a couple of the title pieces on. They also come in the kit. So they've got Remember This Moment and All of Us Together, because there was a big group of us. They might not be in the photograph, but at the time there was a big group of us. Excuse me there with my iPad, because what I've just done, I don't know if you ever do this, but I took my iPad out to take a photograph of the layout before I removed all of the elements, so that I could then carefully use my inks and add a little bit of extra detail using the stencil. Again, stencil comes in the kit. I'm using spun sugar as the colour to just add, it's not massively obvious, it's just a bit of subtle colour behind where I'm going to put my embellishment clusters. So I just took a photograph with my iPad, because the last thing I want to do is come to sort of stick everything back down and then be like, oh, I can't remember where it all was, and I liked how it was, so I wanted to make sure that I put it back. So it's always a great idea to take a quick photograph if you have to take everything off. I try not to, but I had totally forgotten that I wanted to add the colour in. So just clean the Distress Oxide off my mat there. And now I'm going to add a couple of extra layers behind my photograph. They're not full layers, they're not full pieces. I'm just going to layer them up, one at one side, one is at one side and one at the other, just to get some lovely layers behind that photo. And then I've also, as you've just seen me do there, I've added some ink to the top of the word Everyday, just again to sort of coordinate everything together. I pop a little bit of colour on that cut file. So just popping some foam dots on my photograph. I was going to put a piece of foam, but the edge of the heart is raised, so that would have ended up with a real weird bump in the middle of the photograph. So I've just put foam dots at either side of the photo so that the dimension that's already there kind of works with the photo rather than pushing it up in the centre. And then I'm going to use some little teeny tiny foam strips here. These are self-adhesive foam strips. They're really thin, just to go down on the backs of the word in the cut file, so that that's got a bit of dimension as well, so that it doesn't, again, curve over the dimension of the heart in a weird way. Just popping the backs off of those. I've pretty much remembered where everything is going and started tucking some of that ephemera back down. And then just carefully trying to place it down and make sure it's straight before I press it down properly. Tucking that photograph in at the end. So I design I am the owner of Pear Tree cut files, so these are my cut files. So I often, when I'm designing my cut files, I often try and think about where a photo would go on the page. So that often affects the placement of the words, so that there's usually a slot somewhere where a photograph will sit nicely alongside the cut file. So obviously that one there fits at the end of the word every day. Excuse my head while I work out what I'm doing. I'm sticking my glue gel down. So that's silicone glue gel that I'm using, which is basically just like, it's just silicone in a tube, and it allows you to, because it doesn't flatten out, it stays in a lump, and it allows you to move your ephemera around and give it dimension, and then it'll steadily dry, but it gives you that ability to move it without having to use, it's just something different to foam dots. I tend to use foam dots for some things when I want it quite uniform, and then especially for ephemera pieces where I want like maybe part of the leaf sticking up, I will use the glue gel because I can mould it round to have the dimension where I want the dimension. Just pop in little bits on there so that the edges of them stick up, but the main part is stuck down. Really pleased with how that's looking so far. Popping in a few extra pieces, and that's where that title's going, all of us together. Some little dots on the back of there. These are a bit of a pain to get the backs off of, but trying to use them up before I buy any more. And then I like the idea of popping that little tag at the end as well. So I'm just going to distress the edges of that. Pop a couple of pieces of foam on the back of it, I think I put foam on the back of it. And then I add a few more bits of ephemera to it as well. So here comes the cardstock sticker sheet. So adding that, I think it says enjoy today, or it says something today on it. In that green, I liked an extra little pop of green down at the bottom there. And that says love this. And it ends up making an extra little kind of cluster down at the bottom, which I really like. So I'm just using now my finger. I've literally just put a little bit of glue on the back on my finger and popped the tiniest bit on the back of the edges of the cut file there at the end, just so that it sticks down and doesn't flap around on the page. So I'm just pulling out a few extra pieces here. So this is a cut apart sheet. This is one of the sheets of cardstock. I just wanted to put some more of that checkered green in. I'd actually forgotten at this point that there's a whole sheet of that in the collection. Completely forgotten that I had that. So decided in the end to use that cut apart sheet. It worked perfectly because it was exactly the right size. Just sticking that down. And then just deciding what else I'm going to do. I'm going to put some white splatters now all over, and that is about it for my layout. I do like to put white splatters on basically everything. I just think it softens the appearance of things, which I really like. What I do that is not on film, is because I decided to do it afterwards, is there are a few Nouveau drops added, as you can see here in the close-up photographs. So if you just stick around for a few minutes, you'll see all the details of the layout. Thank you ever so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this video. So if you don't already, please consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel. It would mean the world. And I will see you again soon for more layouts with the My Creative Scrapbook March main kit. Thanks very much for watching. Bye for now.